Hi there, it's Nicole from Lawn Fawn, and today I have a card featuring the Frosty Fairy Friends stamps and coordinating dies. I've created a layered window and then simply tucked in the little fairy house, greenery, mushrooms, and added those all the way around. Added a couple of layers using the new dotted dies from Lawn Fawn, and then finished out my scene with the sweet little fairy. I'm going to be using the Misty Stamp Positioner tool to line up or to stamp all of my images so that I can stamp them one on top of another so that I get really nice, crisp, dark stamped impressions. I've been doing this a lot lately. If you've watched some of my videos, you've probably seen me do this. I have found that I really like the look. I like my lines to really be bold. Sometimes it's hard to achieve that when you're just stamping with a traditional acrylic block. And I have just, it's something that I've been doing lately and I really like, so I wanted to share that. I am stamping quite a few different images here. This also works great when you want to stamp a whole bunch of images. I'm going to ink them up with some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. You'll see after my first impression, pretty light. Some of them didn't stamp very well. I probably didn't get them inked up the best. Some of them have been stamped, some had not. I'll stamp that again. It lines it up exactly. And I think I even did it 3 times. I am coloring in my images with some Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers today. I am using some of the Bristol Smooth cardstock. This cardstock completely changed the way I felt about using these Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. So smooth, the colors go on beautifully, they blend beautifully. I like to add my darker colors first, then go in with my lighter shade and blend that out. You can see just how smooth those colors blend on this cardstock. Coloring in cute little fairy wings with some pinks. After I did this and I used a dark pink and a light pink, I realized if I wanted them to appear even more iridescent, I could have started with the light pink and gone in with my Wink of Stella clear glitter brush marker and blended that color out because it's going to kind of blend it to clear. I didn't, which is fine for this. I will show you how I add some tint to snow doing that exact technique. I am feathering in some dark color here, some dark brown, then going in with my lighter color and blending that out for the hair. Don't want to blend it too much, that kind of lends to that nice look of hair. Adding a little darker green, blending in my lighter green. If you want to refer back to any of the colors I'm using, they are shown across the bottom of the screen. Not only do I have the number of the marker I'm using, but the name. I've had several viewers tell me that helps a lot rather than just having the number of these Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, but to have the name there too. The house, I'm definitely going with traditional Christmas colors with some red and green. Here is that really light blue. I've added just a touch of it to anything that I wanted to be snow, and then blending it out with the Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen. It's going to spread out that really light blue, give it a touch of sparkle, and just really lighten up that whole color. Again, for the windows, I went in with some yellow. I'm going to blend that out to lighter yellow with my Wink of Stella clear glitter pen or glitter marker. You do want to clean off the tip when you're done, otherwise you could cross-contaminate one color to another. I'll finish here with the mushroom. I did stamp additional mushrooms later on. I realized I wanted several of these. Went with pink and red. I thought that was a fun color combination with a little green stem. I used the coordinating Frosty Fairy Friends dies. Used a little Post-it tape to hold them in place and then ran them through my die cutting machine. I am using a couple of shades of Lawn Fawn ink here to stamp the greenery, and again we'll die cut those with the coordinating dies. Now I'm moving on and cutting my background pieces. I am using the large dotted rectangles and the small and large dotted rectangles, or circles rather. So I die cut 2 rectangles first. This is the A2 sized rectangle. And then I'm going to take 2 nesting circles, one from the small dotted circle set and one from the large. Line those up with each panel. So I'm going to start with my large one first. Die cut that from one of the rectangles, and you want to keep all of the pieces. Go ahead and take off my Post-it tape, move that die out of the way for a second. I'm going to take this now, line it up with my second rectangle, and tape my circle in place. That kind of serves as a guide. I'm going to run that through again. And this is going to give me those great layers to build my circle frame here. Now from that larger circle, I did take this smaller circle here and die cut another circle from it. And that's going to give me an inside circle and a dotted frame. I did that on purpose so that I could keep that dotted detail. You'll see a little bit of that here in a second. Had a little smudge there from the adhesive on the Post-it tape, and I just simply used my eraser to erase that. I'll be tucking that tree or the little fairy house in there and then adding all of my greenery around it, kind of like you're looking through a window or a snow globe or something. You're looking into this little scene. On my smaller circle that's going to serve as the background, I'm applying some tumbled glass distress ink. Kind of a light hand. I'm trying not to make it too dark or too overpowering. Just wanted a little touch of color for the background. That's kind of what it's going to look like. I like to kind of evaluate. On the top layer, before I add any foam adhesive, I want to stamp my greetings. These are all from the Frosty Fairy Friends. I'm building a greeting that's going to read, "We wish you a Fairy Christmas." The "We wish you a" was stamped with the Lawn Fawn black licorice ink. I'll stamp the word fairy with the pink flamingo ink. I like to stamp it off on my scrap paper first once to make sure I'm going to get a good impression. And then I'll go back with the word Christmas and stamp that with the black licorice ink right next to the word fairy. I love the two-toned look of greetings. I am going to go with my smaller circle now and just glue that dotted circle that I die cut using the smaller and larger dotted circle dies right to this background frame. I'm going to apply foam adhesive to the back of this. I like to use plenty so that it remains nice and flush and I don't have to worry about any little areas kind of getting pressed down in the mailing process. I'm going to peel off the backing paper for all of this now. Move that to the side. Take my top fold card base and adhere my back layer. So the smaller opening goes on the back. Go ahead and put some adhesive in the center, add my circle with the blue background. Next, I'm going to take my foam adhesive again and create another dimensional layer. This foam adhesive is pretty low, so I don't mind doubling it up if I need to. So I'm doubling up 2 layers of foam adhesive here. Kind of the same as it would be if you were doing a shaker card. This also would be a great shaker type of card. I think it would be really fun if you wanted to do that as well. Again, I'm going to peel off all of that backing paper. This is the layer with the larger of the 2 circles die cut out of that rectangle. Take my card, line that up, and I've got some nice dimension now, kind of little window to look through. Go ahead and start adhering some of my elements, starting with the fairy house. And then it's simply kind of working with the different greenery elements to build the scene. I knew I wanted that little branch with the holly berries to go near the top. I'm using some Zotz Bling glue dots to attach a lot of these elements. And then I'm simply working with all of these different greenery die cut images and tucking them either behind that first layer or the second one. What gives this such nice dimension is just simply tucking all of these elements under one or the other and using a combination of that. I adhered the fairy with some foam adhesive so she popped up just a tiny little bit. The addition of the mushrooms is going to be really fun, add a little pop of color with all of that greenery, I think, along the bottom of the scene. layering both the small and the large pieces together. The green inks I used, by the way, are celery stick and freshly cut grass. So kind of a more grass green and a little bit lighter. I like the two-tone look. And I couldn't decide exactly where I wanted to put that mushroom, so I ended up moving him around a little bit. I generally added only maybe 1 or 2 glue dots and didn't press them all the way down until I was sure I liked where things were going. And then I went ahead, and if I needed to add an additional adhesive dot, I did that, or I pressed them down in place so that they were nice and adhered. I'm going to add those little snow pieces to my fairy house now, under the window, to the top of the roof, and to the top of the chimney. Go ahead and add a little foam adhesive dot behind part of the hollyberry branch. Adding more greenery along the bottom. I kept adding it. I had a hard time finding a good place to stop. Layering my mushrooms. Again, I like that little pop of color. Go ahead and add the rest of these little pieces. And I'm going to finish with a sprinkling of Pretty Pink Posh clear droplets. Adding those again with some Zotz Bling glue dots gives the illusion of some nice little ice crystals or snowflakes or something like that falling from the sky. Thanks for joining me today for this Lawn Fawn card showcasing the new Frosty Fairy Friends stamps and coordinating dies. The supplies I've used to create this card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more holiday cards showcasing Lawn Fawn stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.